You're welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cruising is Life podcast for another weekly episode. We've got some exciting news today. Or I guess it came yesterday, but we're here to talk about it today. As we got the big reveal of Icon number 3, and of course now we can officially say it is going to be Legend of the Seas. But as we get started, of course, welcome back to our co-hosts Dimitri and Justin. What's going on, guys?
Hello.
But yeah, we're in for a very exciting episode, and of course, everybody in the chat, just let me know if there are any audio issues or any, volume issues. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get started here in just a second. But I feel like it deserves a little bit of a spotlight today. But the SS United States is being towed down the Delaware today. I feel like that is a very kind of like iconic ship within, I guess, like not only U.S. history, but like also, cruise ship, ocean liner type history. So kind of sad to see that thing go, but it's been too far gone for too long is, I guess, its problem.
The good thing now is that it's closer to us and we can go scuba for it. So whenever you want to go scuba, I am down to go scuba.
I low-key was thinking about seeing like if I could make the trip up to Pensacola to like see it like as they do it, but I'm sure that's going to be insane to see.
Is it going to be passing by Canaveral like closely? Do we know any friends with a boat?
Are they going to tug it down the coast?
Yeah, that's how it's getting here. Slowly but surely. They said 6 miles an hour.
For some reason, I was like, maybe they're gonna like tug it like down just different rivers that are all connecting and somehow make its way down here. But I don't think that's really realistic. I was gonna say I don't think it all connects, which is what I was like. All right, like that's such a fragile ship at this point because of how old it is and how long it's been laid up like that. That thing's gonna fall apart, unfortunately. Like, as soon as it hits those open waters, one big swell, I feel like it's going to fall apart. But,
it's metal. It's already destined for the bottom of the ocean, under the seas.
It's already destined to go to the bottom anyways, unfortunately. But, yeah, I just felt like that was a very important piece of, ocean liner and just ship history and all. But, yeah, sad to see it go. Thing was pretty crazy back in the day when it was actually, like, in service.
Yeah, and the other thing is that all these people saying like us, whatever, restore it, blah blah blah. You got the Queen Mary in Dubai or in LA. You got the Queen Elizabeth in Dubai, and I've seen videos of those recently. Yeah, it looks like crap, and they're like at like 1%, capacity on the hotel side of things, and it's like there's no reason to add another one of those, and nobody wants to spend the money. Like, this ship is way too far gone. Like, those ones were fine, This one's just...
Yeah, those ones are fine because they were saved and, they got the money put into them within the right amount of time. But this one sat a little too long. I mean, even NCL actually owned the SS United States at one point.
They did because it was going to join...
It was going to join Pride of America. And they were gonna...
Yeah, it was going to be the other ship in Hawaii, but then they ended up doing Norwegian... Sky, right?
Yeah, I think it was Sky or Jade. Well, yeah.
Sky was there, and then they purchased the United States, but then instead of the United States,
they tried.
Jade. They tried.
Yeah, they tried just like a lot of other people, and they just never worked out. But yeah. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. I just wanted to give it a little bit of a spotlight in the first few minutes here. But we are here to talk all about the latest and greatest ship from Royal Caribbean, and that is, of course, Legend of the Seas. What are your thoughts on them reusing the name?
I told you about this 7 months ago, and nobody
wanted
to believe
me
until... I don't remember.
Okay,
definitely,
you don't
definitely didn't.
But I'm not as bothered as others are about them reusing the name, although I think there were better alternatives they could have chosen.
Yes. I think there were definitely better alternatives.
I just wish they would have kept the legacy names for a new class, kind of how Carnival did it. I don't like it being the third one in a brand new class, in a class that already has 2 ships. So I don't know. I feel like they should have waited.
That's my thing too. Is I think I'm not against it at all. I mean, I think it's great for the XL class with Carnival, and I feel like it did so well and it fits so well with that class in Carnival because those ships were such a huge leap from what they had done in the past when it comes to, every Carnival ship looks the same, is the same layout type of thing. These are this is like the XL ships literally were almost like a new era for Carnival. And so by renaming it the Mardi Gras and then going with all these additional legacy names, that fits. But like Project Ace is not going to be the legacy names, and had it been Icon was originally Legend, then sure. But, I don't know. I think a third in class doesn't really deserve a legacy name just because it quote unquote fits better. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just the name of a ship. So, I mean, it's really not that important. It's about how where it goes and what it offers and things like that. The name is really irrelevant. But, we can, yeah.
Complain all we want.
We complain all you want, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the exact same ship as if they were to call it Idol of the Seas instead, which I think they should use, by the way. But
name dropping, we love.
Yes. I see a few chats here. It looks like Legend of the Seas is almost sold out already. Only 2 3-night sailings left. Oh yeah, there were only a couple of them, but yeah. And it looks like Big Stu booked the Legend of the Seas on November. Awesome to see that. It's the 3-day cruise too, I think. So that's awesome. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, my parents are looking at it in December. Of course, it's just way too much money, man. I can't get over. My biggest complaint's really the pricing. Just
Very
not.
true.
Icon was incredible. I think every cruiser should experience the Icon class at some point in their life, but good Lord, I can't recommend it with the pricing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, even that 3-night, they want almost $1,000 per person. I mean,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and our group chat that we have earlier, we were talking about it. I mean, it was $900, a little over $900 for an inside cabin for 3 nights, and I'm like, that's $300 a night. That's insane.
Yeah,
I mean, it used to be an industry average to be hovering around the 100 to 150. That's normal, if not cheap. But once you're starting to get into that, $600, $700, $800 range for a 3-night cruise, it's just insane. I mean,
right.
If you've got the money, then go for it. But God, that is a lot of money especially for a 3-night. But even these 7 nights are even worse, though.
Yeah, it's out of control.
Well, I guess
people
in this
are
case
booking
it's 6 and 8.
Yeah, it's not going to get any better because people are paying for it.
Right.
Exactly.
One thing I do like about this is that they are doing different itineraries where they're doing these 6 and 8 night cruises though.
I do like that.
That's very nice. Especially when it's going all the way down to Aruba and Curacao. So cool. A ship like that offering the destinations like that, incredible.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did the 8-night on Allure when she was doing that at Fort Lauderdale, and it was great. So I can't even imagine doing it on Legend. That's gonna be big. I think a lot of people are gonna like that.
Yeah, I think a ship like that really does deserve 8 nights. I mean, the 6 nights too, sure, but I mean the 8-night is when you're really gonna expect really get like the full potential and everything out of these ships. But yeah, you also do get what you pay for, because I do see that thrown into the chat here. I mean, again, the Icon class is the absolute pinnacle of the industry right now. I mean, you do pay a pretty penny, but you're gonna get probably the greatest ship ever built. So
right. But even then, I think they're still charging a little bit too much. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember the original Oasis class being
the
that
website. Give us some live data as we're talking here. Let's price out a 3 night, something in the Med, something in the Caribbean, a 6 and an 8.
Oh boy. I do like that she's going to Fort Lauderdale though. While we're looking that up.
That is cool. That is going to be really cool.
Yeah, I wonder who she's going to alternate with, because the last few years they've been alternating 6 and 8s with Odyssey and Allure, and then
I think it is Allure.
it's gonna be Oasis and Allure. Is it going to be Allure? Okay.
I think so. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, here's.
Have they announced it that far out?
Let's take a look. Let's check it
Yeah,
out.
let's look. Check it out. They only have until October 26th, but it says she's still Allure as of October 17th, 26 is doing 6 and 8 from Fort Lauderdale.
So I wonder
Probably.
if she's either going to switch around or if she's gonna, if she's just gonna alternate with the Allure, because Allure is gonna be redone, so they're gonna have like basically the 2 top ones. Well, I mean, other than
Right.
Star, but they're gonna have like the 2 top ships out of Fort Lauderdale
Right.
doing that. Allure's gonna be awesome on 6.
Well, I guess
as
the
well.
the announcements are coming soon for itineraries for that time frame. I think Legend's just the
President
first
waited
one.
Yeah,
and let
you're right.
everything go at the same time.
So
You're
we'll see
right.
in a few weeks.
You're right.
No.
Harmony is also just suspiciously missing out of all of the recent announcements. So I'm glad to say I'm pretty positive she's gonna be back in Florida, but you know,
Maybe she'll do the 6 and 8s. That'd be interesting.
I was hoping she would grab the 3 and 4s in Liberty's place, but I don't know how realistic that is. That would be pretty cool. I would jump on it in a heartbeat just to do it, because that's the only Oasis class I haven't done.
Right. And then if they still want to keep Liberty, they could do 4s and 5s on her from Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
Like they used to.
Right, exactly. But I guess like the thing is with this as well, you know, like Royal Caribbean is so, you know, top dog in the industry right now. You know, there's not much competition, so like they can charge these prices because they're the only ones offering stuff like this, which is great, because like it just shows how unique and incredible these ships are. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, they're so far ahead of everybody else because of that they can kind of get away with these prices. I feel like that's
Right.
what they are. 'Cause I
Yeah,
think by the
and they're-
time
they think
4
about
and
that.
5 and 4, 5, and 6, once those roll out, we're gonna have Project Ace is gonna be in full swing. MSC is gonna be rolling out not only their 4th, you know, world class ship, but they're also gonna be rolling out their next gen, which appears to be bigger. So who knows what we could even expect from something like that. But,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you've got Norwegian that's going to have 200,000 ton ships, or the 225,000 ton ships that they've already announced. So by that point, I feel like the prices will go down probably for the Icon class, just because it's finally going to have a little bit of competition by then. But for these first 3, it's just incredible because they're so far ahead of everybody. Even
Right.
with MSC, I mean, MSC is really their only competition right now, and they got 1 ship competing against 6 Oasis class and 2 Icon class by itself.
Yeah, it's hard to do for sure.
Yeah.
I do like how they, you know, did do the 6 and 8s, because I mean 7s are boring, and the chance to go down to Aruba and Curacao and overnight in Aruba and Cabo Rojo, which I think is pretty big to have a brand new ship, you know, stopping
For
there,
real.
or to
Mhm.
like Falmouth or
Yeah.
even Labadee right around the corner, or La Romana. Like that's huge, you know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was even like they announced the Cabo Rojo a while ago and just disappeared. It's not like, it doesn't feel like they use it a whole lot.
There, but I think it's just good that people just aren't talking about it, because it's just like it's good, it's
Mhm.
fine, like there's nothing bad about it. Because like let's say, you know, they opened something in Haiti and it was horrible and, you know, dangerous, it'd be all over the news, but it's not all over the news, so I'd imagine that it's doing fine, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Right, exactly. I mean, I guess no news is good news, but at the same time, like I haven't heard anything, you know, I haven't heard anything positive, more because I haven't heard anything at all. So, I mean, it's got to be at least decent. So, but I'd like to try it, of course. You know, it's a place that I haven't been before, so, you know, we'll see.
So I have a suspicion.
Okay. What is your
Hear
suspicion?
me out. Hear me out.
Uh-oh.
If Royal Caribbean is, dwindling with Labadee and Haiti, Cabo Rojo is very far away from a lot of other towns or, anything. It's just kind of like a beach and they did like a man-made area. Will Royal Caribbean develop Cabo Rojo and do what they're doing to Costa Maya and just build their own little thing there with all that open land?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, especially if they want to get rid of Labadee.
They're kind of trying to monopolize the entire Caribbean at this point. So
that would be perfect, like a stop instead of a sea day coming back from St. Thomas, Aruba. Like, you're there. Might as well monopolize that middle ground port.
But what they're going to run into is there's a lot of people that don't like going to the private destination. So if you have a cruise has 3 ports and 2 of them are private destinations, they're going to be like, well, what's really the point,
By the time this one's out, they're gonna have the ability to do a 7-night cruise that only goes to private destinations, and it's gonna be a full 7-night cruise with at least 4 stops.
Right.
So I mean, yeah. I personally like it. Sure. I mean, Coco Cay is amazing, so obviously all these new destinations are gonna be awesome too. But like Justin said, I mean, it's not like not everybody likes it. I mean, a lot of people do, which is why they're continuing to do it. But that's not everybody's cup of tea, which is why the Discovery class is even in contention here, or even in the question. But I've heard some things, so that's going to be an interesting little topic here with that Discovery class. But yeah, I mean, not everybody wants to go to these private destinations. Sometimes they want to go to the smaller ports or the places that most ships can't reach. So, who knows?
I mean, case in point, like our Viva itinerary for Greece got changed. We're going to Volos. Volos gets 10 stops in a season. It's a port nobody really goes to. A lot of people say that's like truly Greece without the rest of the country being overrun by tourism. And it's on a lot of people's favorite list. We'll see.
Cool.
We'll see how that goes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I saw it pop up, so I'll go ahead and answer it because I guess we're kind of throwing MSC into the question here, just, in comparisons, but would I go on another MSC cruise? So I have to say, well, long story short of the Seashore review is I had a pretty rough experience on MSC my first time, but I'm 100% willing to try them again. I think that was a fluke of a cruise, so I'd like to try them again just to do that. But yeah, because World America looks incredible, and again, I think it's going to be still a lot of competition for the Icon. I guess comparing all these Icon ships, I think that ship is actually more in line to compete with the Icon class rather than just the Oasis class like we originally thought. Yeah, they're smaller than the Oasis class, but they're packing so much more into them that I think this is an actual Icon competitor rather than Oasis competitor. So by having multiple here, and it doesn't really mean that we're not going to get World Europa here eventually too. I mean, yeah, they like to lock them to the regions, but who's to say? Because I mean, they've even said that Terminal AA and AAA are set to take on 2 world class at a time. I mean, what if we had World Europa doing, seasonal cruises out of the Caribbean, with World America type of thing? I mean, so at that point, you get this 4th one in the mix. I mean, you could have 3 of those competing down here too. So who knows?
Yeah, you could. Did you look up the prices yet? Give us the beans. How expensive are we talking?
Nutty. So this is obviously the 3-night from Rome, which I think is a 1-of-1 itinerary, but it is just north of $1,000, or just north of $1,000.
Yeah, that's not terrible for 7 days.
For 3 days.
Oh my God.
Right. The cheapest. Okay, so the cheapest I see is $895 for an interior, and that is a 3-night cruise. So I don't know.
Wowzers.
Yeah. There's so a 6 nights running close to about 13 to 1400, 1400 for 7 nights out of, Barcelona during that summer season. That transatlantic is very expensive for a transatlantic. Usually those are the cheapest of the cheap cruises because of the fact that they're repositioning. Like usually you can pick up a 10 plus 10 12 night cruise transatlantic for like maybe $600-700. That's about average just because they don't fill those as much, but this is pretty expensive when you're comparing it to most transatlantic voyages.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of sea days as well, but that's kind of what you're going on a transatlantic for, is all the sea days. But 7 nights from Rome, about 1,800. 1,800 seems to be about the average price. There's even some that are just a little bit north of 2,000. These are, of course, interior cabins, not even balconies.
Mm.
So let's just grab the cheapest 8-night that I can find, and you're looking at about $2,150 or $2,130 for the cheapest balcony on Legend for 8 nights. So,
Eek.
I mean, we can talk all night about pricing, but it's an expensive cruise for sure. Incredible ship. If you've got the money, I think you should definitely try to go for it. But when you're comparing it to other ships or other prices on other things that are semi-comparable, there's really not a comparison in the industry at the moment, other than maybe World America. But that's still not. We haven't even seen that, I guess, at its full potential yet because it's not out yet. But, World America is going to be a third of the price.
So has Royal, I guess I'm not on top of things as I should be. Royal hasn't come out with the 2026 summer Caribbean itineraries yet, have they?
It doesn't appear so.
Okay, because I was going to say, what other ships do they have in the area, that are kind of doing similar things? But I guess we'll have to wait.
Let's see what's doing the 6 and 8s out of Fort Lauderdale this year.
It's Oasis and Allure.
Oh, it is. I mean, those prices are probably not nearly as bad, but let's see. Oasis.
I think it's them this year, right?
Allure. Yes, 6 and 8s.
Yeah.
Allure. See, a 6-night. So the 6-night on Legend is about $1,200. I think was about the cheapest one I could find for an interior cabin. You're looking at about half of that price. It's the cheapest one right now I see for Allure, and that's freshly renovated, is $616. Same with Oasis, just about $10 north of that. Oasis for an 8-night is right at $1,000. Allure is $940. So you're paying almost double the price just for the name of the ship because it's an Icon class.
Right.
You're paying almost double the price. And yeah, I don't know about that.
That's insane.
What do you call it? Does it show anything else like Miami or Canaveral?
I really wasn't looking at any, I guess, comparisons otherwise, just of what it was going to take over, I guess, that itinerary wise. But let's see. I mean, Star and Icon are no better, and for some reason, Wonder isn't either. Wonder's ridiculously priced still in our last couple months here in Canaveral. But again, I think it's just because Royal Caribbean's got such a stronghold on the industry right now.
Let's all be glad and do a kumbaya that it did not go to Galveston.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would have been hard.
Yeah, I didn't think Legend was Legend was never going to go to Canaveral. I think the potential there, or I guess what could have been would have been that Legend would have gone to Miami to take over for Icon, and Icon went over there. I do think that might be the case for the fourth one, though. So, but
Because isn't
Icon will
they
probably be the
announced
first
moving
one to move.
to Europe?
What's that?
Didn't they announce one of them's going to Europe? Is it Star or Icon that's doing like a Europe season?
It was Legend.
Legend. None
I
of them
thought
are
there
going
was
over
another
there
one
yet.
that's going to Europe. There's another one to go to Europe. No.
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 I think once it's time for dry dock, yes, but because at some point, the cool part is, I guess, with all this is that there's going to be so many of these and also so many Oasis class that we're going to end up with, you know, years coming up soon where we're going to have an Icon and Oasis class both teamed up in the Mediterranean during the summers, which is going to be pretty cool because at this point, there's so many Oasis class that we get one every single year over in Europe doing Mediterranean cruises. But, you know, once we are on Icon 4, Icon 5, I think we're going to get to that point too, where not only are we going to have one of each in dry dock every year because of the dry dock schedules, you know, we're going to be over in Europe at the same time, which is just going to be interesting to see, you know, just ships that size, multiple of them like that.
For sure.
Let's. What else was I gonna do here? But yeah, I guess comparing I guess going back to Wonder, like Wonder right now is just north of about $1,100 for 7 nights in Port Canaveral. But I guess if you throw Star in there, Star is gonna be. The cheapest Star cruise for 7 nights is $1,500, so you're literally paying an extra $400 to $500 almost, just for the name.
Oh, Royal. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is what
My
it is.
question is, will they do anything to differentiate the ships from the
It
others?
doesn't look like it.
saw
I
in
doubt it.
One of the pictures, the slides were a different color. One was green and blue instead of pink and yellow. But like instead of the pearl, do like make it a star, or you know, make it some other sort of shape. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's the thing that they did really well with the Oasis class was that each pair were different. But with these, it seems like they're all just going to be the exact same offering, which is what you kind of expect with a ship class. I mean, they're all going to be the same thing. But usually with each one, there's something they do. Like, they even said, like, the only difference on Star is going to be, like, a hot tub. And I think, like, it's, you know, like with one of the bars where, like, 1400 bar on Icon is going to be 1401 or 1402, whatever yard number it is. But yeah, like, I don't, Royal Caribbean's got some great marketing, and that's why they're at where they're at right now. But by them coming out and saying, yeah, Star of the Seas is going to be the exact same thing, like, that makes me not want to go on it. You know what I mean?
After
The only good thing that they've done to differentiate themselves with Legend, which is good, is that it's doing 6 and 8s rather than 7s, which is a great way to look at it, because now I'd much rather do a 6 or an 8 night cruise because it's not the same destinations that you get on a 7-day cruise.
St. Thomas, St. Martin,
Yeah,
Nassau, Coco Cay, Cozumel, Falmouth, blah blah blah.
right, exactly. It's the same itinerary basically every other week.
Regurgitated, yes.
They spice it up by doing it reversed every other time, but that's really about it.
I think it's unnecessary to have 2 sea days to go to St. Martin, but that's besides the point. Stop in Labadee for a day now.
I guess it took us 2 days to get down to St. Croix a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and we were doing about 20
Yeah.
knots. So
One of those sea days you could have stopped in, you know, you stopped in Grand Turk, you could have stopped in, you know, you could stop in Labadee, you could stop in Cabo Rojo and go down and around. You can stop in Puerto Plata. Why don't Oasis class go to Puerto Plata anymore? Wonder went there like 2 times, and then that was it.
Did you ever see what happened to the Escape when it went there?
I did.
Yeah, it ran aground.
It
Yeah,
ran
the
aground.
thing
There's
is that
a few other
things
factors,
are
I think.
And there's such things as dredgers. Don't make me go out there and pretend I'm digging the China.
I know, like, I mean,
Start digging.
Are they paying me?
Nope.
you've got the engineering degree, bud.
I was gonna say, yeah. I'll go bring some of my heavy machinery real quick.
Put yourself on a hard hat and get out there, bud.
Fantastic. I just got one too.
Oh, perfect.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, last time the Escape went to Puerto Plata, there's a reason NCL goes to Amber Cove now. I think the captain being well over the average retirement age had a little bit to do with that, but still. That would be a cool thing to see, though, like, or at least see them like attempt is trying to go to different destinations with some of these ships. You know, again, that's why I think Legend has a foot up against Icon and Star for sure. If you could switch it up to, I mean, even sometimes send them over to Labadee or again Cabo Rojo or. You know, I don't think there's been an Icon class in Labadee yet.
There hasn't been.
There
But
has
is
not
Labadee still like functioning at the moment, or is
Yeah,
it
they're
closing?
open.
Yeah, they're open. They're open for business, baby.
I was gonna say I knew it was, but I didn't know if it was like down again.
No, I think last time I checked, it was all over with. Well, not over with, but it was all semi-controlled to where they could at least let them go back. But that is a big destination that they've been missing out on, is going to Labadee. And it is weird that they're not, because, I mean, the Oasis class, that was like, I mean, they all went to Labadee. I think even Wonder has been there at least once, but Wonder very rarely will go there.
Even Utopia's been there
Utopia
True.
went there?
once.
She did.
And I think it was a reroute.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause they were trying to like escape like a front or something.
I think it was
Something like
one of those
that,
hurricanes.
yeah.
It may have been Milton, or I think it was probably Milton that it was trying to get out of the way of. It was probably a 4-night too, because it was in the middle of the week that hit. So that makes sense if it was during Milton.
Yeah, I don't know why doesn't Icon stop there.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when they released renderings of her, like when they were really starting to advertise her, it was her pulling into Labadee.
I do
Like the
remember
back
that.
shot of her.
Icon?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I always remember
Mhm.
seeing the Coco K ones, but I don't know if I remember seeing the other ones.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And I see rumor was Icon was going to Galveston, but seems unlikely at this point. Yeah, I mean, I think Icon will go over there. It'll be Icon that does go, but that'll probably be once we get the 4th Icon class in 2027.
And also in the chat, yeah, I was telling you, Encore does go to Puerto Plata. She's been there because I just saw a picture of her recently there with like MSC something, Seascape
Yeah.
or something. I was like, oh,
I think our Joy Cruise does go there. Unless
it does, yeah. They don't go to
unless they
Amber
send us
Cove
over to
very
Amber Cove, because they on the schedules they have them combined. So like 4 ship days are usually just 2 at each port. But
Well, Puerto Plata is expanding for 4 ships, so
oh really?
yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they are.
Interesting. But yeah, I think because I
When
think
I was
when
there-
we're on Joy, we're gonna be docking next to World America, which is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and there's that pier is really long too, or well, it was even for just 2 ships,
Hmm.
because like a cargo ship, I've seen 3 ships dock there before, but like one
Really?
dock is for like a cargo ship. and it's like a really long dock, and then you can walk like around in a crescent, so you can get good pictures of the ship.
Because you went there on Seascape, right?
Yeah, we were the only ones there that day, but we were supposed to be there with. It was supposed to be a 3-ship day. I think it was supposed to be like Escape and something, but our itinerary had gotten flipped. So, or like Celebrity something was supposed to be like Beyond, but it got flipped.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think my parents were on there went there on Voyager back in December, and it was, I think they were there with Scarlet Lady, one of the ladies. But yeah, it seems like a very nice place though. They said it was great there.
I cannot wait to go back. Literally,
Really?
almost.
I think it was a good
Lazy
replacement for La Romana, that's for sure.
The lazy river and alcohol flowing is all that you have to say to me.
Good thing that
And at that,
cruise
a free
comes with the
lazy
drink
river.
package.
A free lazy river.
Oh, it's a free lazy river? Oh, jeez.
It's like a free resort area, like that whole thing, pool, DJ music,
Oh, I cannot wait to
loungers,
go.
free. And then
I
like
cannot wait to go.
the bar's like a swim up bar, and it's like attached to the lazy river, so you don't even have to get out. Oh, it's the best.
Interesting. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess going back to Legend though, I mean, yeah, it's, at least they're kind of differentiating some of the itineraries here with it. I wish they would do that with the rest of the Icon class, but with ships this size, you really can't get too creative, I guess, with some of these places because of how limited they are in size. Which I guess brings me to the long rumored Discovery class. What are your thoughts on all that? Because I've heard things that I can't say, but what are your thoughts on all that?
On just like the class in general?
No comment. But
What?
but no, like, do you think that obviously, like, that's kind of the purpose of that class or like that project, is that they're trying to do
smaller places,
right, to go to different places. I mean, again, these Oasis and Icon class are confined to the same 3 to 4 ports every week because that's all they can take. Which is why Oasis and Allure were the only ones this size for such a long time, because they only could go to Nassau and St. Martin, because St. Martin literally was just an open pier, basically. It was just a really long pier that basically anything could get into. So, that was basically the thing. Same with Cozumel. I mean, the pier was long, so there's no turning basin or, constrictions because of it being open like it is. So, it was really just ports like that. And even Nassau barely made it in time.
They had to redredge.
They had to redredge, and they still didn't. They were very close to not even finishing on time.
No, and I keep seeing this comment come up over and over and over again that a lot of people, tried the big ships, and the big ships aren't for them. I think the sweet spot is that 160,000,
Absolutely.
maybe 170 or 150 to 170. Let's give it a range, and that's where people are happy, where it's big enough to have some activities and options to do, but not huge where I'm walking 2 minutes, just to go to like central location of the ship. So
I love the big ships. I mean, that's again, the Oasis class is
too,
what got me
but
started and everything like that. But there is going to be a limit for sure. I'm excited for MSC's next gen.
These Discovery class slot in like 130 ish, maybe like, let's say 125 to 150 if they slot in there. I think that's pretty decent. You can reach a lot of places with that. I mean, that's what getaway and breakaway sized.
They're about 140, 145.
Okay. As I said, 125 to 150.
I mean, those are perfect.
Perfect size. Those go everywhere.
They Amsterdam,
do. Greece.
Well, that's the reason with the Prima class. That's exactly why they did it. I think the Prima class might be a little bit ahead of its time in that sense, because I think people are starting. I think Norwegian's problem is that they didn't put it in the right places. with what they
Yeah.
tried to do. I think with Aqua and Luna, because they're a little bit bigger and they're a little bit more focused for warmer weather, they're perfect to go to Miami. They're perfect for Canaveral and stuff like that. But like with Prima and Viva, because they're a little bit smaller, they're able to go other places, but I think they also do better in those colder climates because Prima seems to do incredibly well up north and
Very.
even over in Europe when it does those Iceland cruises and things like that. So,
And well,
You
the
know.
other thing is that I don't want to say I think Norwegian kind of learned that Prima has a little bit too much stuff for the size of it. I
Yes,
saw,
absolutely.
them like kind of doing like a little, just kind of farting around, just looking at Viva videos, and somebody had done a really good job describing the difference between Prima and Viva.
Mhm.
And they made some changes even between those two, like in the
Mhm.
food hall, in the buffet,
Yeah.
slightly, within the atrium, like opened an extra hallway to get from one place to another. They got the feedback and they changed it. But with Aqua being a little bit bigger, they're making more
Mm-hmm.
changes. But you put those ships on, the biggest complaint is the pool deck. I don't hear the end of it. If you put those ships on itineraries with a stop every day and maybe one sea day, you don't
Yep.
have that issue. And
That's
people
why
are paying to go on those
Viva's
ships
doing
because
good.
they go to those destinations. So I think that's their bread and butter there. That if you can put those ships on itinerary heavy cruises,
Mm-hmm.
they'll sell great because they can get into the places. They're still a new ship, and they can
Mhm.
fit where all those bigger ones can.
They're fantastic ships. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they do get a little bit of complaints, and I think it's because they're not necessarily made for the 2 sea days down, sea day going back, or 3 to 4 sea days per cruise. I mean, that's going to be a little excessive for that class. But like again, like you
Mhm.
said, if it's just one sea day or things like that, then it's honestly great. But again, and the pool deck size, I mean that's really going to be the key point here with the Aqua and Luna too, is that not only are they bigger, but they're also taking away that go-kart track that's taking up so much of that room up there. So they're freeing up so much more space. And just I guess we've kind of gone off a little bit off topic of Legend, but I feel like we've kind of beat that with a dead horse with some of its pricing. So we'll kind of turn it to chat here and do a little bit more of a Q&A. But yeah, like Aqua and Luna, I think are set up better to do well here in Florida than the first two were.
I feel like that water slide that they chose though takes up a lot of space too. Like that's a very bulky slide.
Oh, it is for sure. I think it's
It
not
is, but I think there's like open deck space underneath it, so
right.
you
You
can just
can
have
do
chairs.
yeah, you can put stuff underneath it. I mean, yeah, you can have like the lounge chairs and things like that underneath it, but which you can't do with the racetrack. And there's also so much noise pollution with the go-karts as well because yeah, they're electric, but they literally have speakers on them that go
Whirring.
right. So you're listening to that as they all go around, which cool, but you can't put loungers underneath there because obviously that's not going to be very relaxing, but there's also people zipping around on a go-kart above you. Whereas water slides you can get away with that a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't know, I haven't really looked too much into Aqua, but that part at the front of the ship that's that dedicated, splash cap plat. Sorry, I can't speak. Splash pad kids area. They
Yeah.
extended it because it was like a couple little geysers, and like it was very lame.
Mhm.
Even me as not a kid, it looked very lame. So, like, I
Yeah.
hope they like improve that somehow, or like how Carnival does their waterworks. Add like the little slides, the little like a little dump bucket thing, and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Honestly, Norwegian used to be really good with that. Like their water parks on the Breakaway and Breakaway Plus ships were fantastic. It's just like they tried to go away from, which I respect that because I think Royal Caribbean's gone the opposite direction and gone too kid friendly to the point where there's an entire. I mean, going back to the Icon class because that was really the biggest issue I had with the Icon. I thought Icon was probably the best ship ever made to this point, I would say. but I think it really did a disservice because they made that back area, the surf side, you know, the boardwalk equivalent. It's literally just, it's a kids area. They have restaurants and things like that, but they're like more kid friendly. They're more like, you know, the little kids buffet and the little, you know,
Like you weren't there
Coney
eating chicken
Island
nuggets.
pier type restaurant. I mean, right. It's like a little theme park back there, which is cool for kids, but like, I mean, is it really necessary?
No.
I mean,
But
I get,
like I
that
said,
gave
think
me,
Breakaway
I had
Class,
no
they
reason.
separate-
I had no reason to go back there into Surfside when I was on Icon. There's no appeal for it. I mean, they had good churros and popcorn chicken back there, but that was literally the only reason to go back there was for churros and popcorn chicken. A valid reason,
But no,
nonetheless.
the biggest thing is just separating
And it was good. It was comparable to
the area
Publix.
from the main pool area is the biggest thing. Like Breakaway Class, they've got their own pool, they've got their own splash area, they've got their own slides. Boom, done. They don't need to be in the main pool area. There's
It
a
was
wall separating them. There's
Yeah,
a
it was a
walkway,
big
and that's
section.
it. Yeah.
It was a big
So I
section,
think-
but it was not big enough to take up the whole deck.
Yep.
So it was perfect.
So,
Yeah. And that was like that on all of them, like Breakaway, Getaway, even the Breakaway
Oh,
Plus
yeah.
ships. But yeah, I think Aqua and Luna are on a little bit better of a path than the first two. But I think the first two, after, you know, after their initial seasons and initial year or two, I think they found their sweet spot with them. I don't think I doubt Prima's ever going to go back to Galveston, just because, again, the C-Day argument that we made earlier. My cat's trying to climb all over me again. You know, it's like we said, it's not really built for multiple sea days or excessive amounts of sea days, whereas, you know, something else would be, you know, or like the average cruise ship that's, you know, maybe these bigger ones, for example, are a little bit better for all the sea days, which is, I guess, good when it comes to size.
So I guess I'm not in tune as I should be, but I know they've announced Aqua in the Caribbean, but is she doing like a med season or anything?
No,
Or
she's gonna be
she-
straight here.
That's it, just all year round so far for like a year and a half till.
So I
they
think
release more stuff.
I think she's coming. So her transatlantic ends in, I think, Boston, which is a weird place for it to end rather than New York, because that's kind of their hub. But so she's gonna do that, and then I think after like a couple weeks in Boston, she's gonna go down to Canaveral, which is awesome. Not gonna question that. Weird that they're doing it, but it's not gonna question it. And then she's gonna go down to Miami. And I think around that point is when, because Luna is going to be right on the heels of Aqua.
By the time that she gets down there and does all that stuff.
She's gonna have about a season to herself or so. I think it's only about, so I'm pretty sure it's only going to be about 11 or 12 months between Aqua and Luna, which is fairly quick, especially since Viva was a 2023 ship. So we didn't really get any of these in 2024.
I think they were just making sure they got it right with
Which is good.
Aqua and Luna. Just taking
And I
their
think-
time and designing what they needed to design.
Yeah, and I think these last two in the class that are going to be the biggest ones, where they're about 170, 175, you know, those are going to be the really heavy hitter ones too, because those, I think, they're going to start to do, they're going to improve on everything that the class has done either wrong or, you know, needs improvement on, or even did well, and just improve all that. But then they're going to start implementing a few things and concepts that they're going to put on the next gen ships, which are massive. So Aqua and Luna are definitely going to be much better, I think, than the first two. Not that the first two were bad, which sucks that they got that reputation. I mean, there's a lot of people that are like wanting or like looking to go on those ships, and they just won't book it because everybody says they suck.
I've heard a lot. I've heard good things, I've heard middle things, and I've heard bad things. So
Right. I mean, my girlfriend was supposed to be going on Viva. I think she was originally supposed to be on it like this week or something like that, but her mom canceled it because they heard so many bad things about the Viva, which is, I guess, good for me because that's why I went on Seashore with her instead. But you know, that kind of sucks. I mean, that was like their reasoning is because they just saw so many bad reviews that they're like, I don't know if I want to go on this.
But you know what other ship is like that too? The Virgin Voyages stuff.
Virgin is such a crazy, like, they're so different than everything.
Besides the cruise ship, besides the cruise line itself, the cruise ships,
Mhm.
a lot
They
of people
seem
say
very
the exact
nice.
same. They seem very nice, but a lot of people say that, they have like flow issues and stuff like that. So
And the funny thing about that is that everybody's like, oh, we want smaller ships, and then they build smaller ships. Can you tell Rachel to keep it down back there?
come on,
Keep
Rachel.
going. Don't worry about what's going on over here.
But everybody's like, oh, we want smaller ships. I like the smaller ships better. Blah 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 blah. So they build small ships, and everybody's like, these suck.
Yeah.
Like Virgin Voyages thinks or like they built the smaller ships. There's issues because they're too small. Norwegian catered to the customer asking for smaller ships. They did it. Didn't review well. They said we want a lot of people said it's too small. It's like, all right, we got to find some sort of happy medium here, or we're going to just continue to build these mega ships over 200,000 tons, which is exactly why they're doing this new project over 200,000 tons, is because everybody that's been complaining about these Prima class ships, they're like, well, if there was just more room, I was like, well, you're going to get a bigger ship if you want more room.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Well,
But let's check on the class here, or the check on the chat here, see if we've got anything
The
good.
class. Hello, class.
Hello, class. No.
We're going to learn
let's
about
see.
cruise ships today.
I'd
Let's
sign up
see
for that
here.
course real quick.
Me too.
Do we think Discovery class will be bigger than the rumored 90,000? What's your
Yes.
over under on that? Yes.
Over.
Yeah.
This is not
let's-
Price is Right. It will be over.
It will be.
Over.
Yeah. That honestly, that's what's taking so long right now. Is they don't know. Royal Caribbean on paper, they say they want something around 90,000, but they're not willing to build something 90,000 because it's not going to make them the amount of money. Which they're a
Shame.
for-profit company. They're gonna do what makes themselves the most amount of money. I get that. But building a 90,000 ton ship is not in their best interest if they're wanting to maximize their profits. So I get it. I get why they are in between and they're kind of like not sure. But yeah.
How about something like Ascent Beyond Edge sized?
If they just rebranded a Celebrity Edge class and just called it the Discovery class, it'd be perfect.
Like, or even if it just took that and just shrunk it, like the tiniest bit, took a deck or two off the top, kept the, that bow and that kind of top design where it's kind of just linear at the top and no big bulbs or anything. I think you got a winner there.
Or here's a hot take. If you want the smaller ships, the more intimate vibes and the more traditional cruise feel from it, from Royal Caribbean, go on Celebrity. It's the same thing. It's the same company.
Yeah, but
They already have those ships. They have those ships already available. I mean, it's not a Royal Caribbean. It doesn't have the Crown and Anchor on it. Sure. But it's still Royal Caribbean.
It's not though. It's different. So it's.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
different.
but that's the type of ship that they're asking for,
Yeah, but it's,
Royal Caribbean themselves is not willing to build a ship like that, but Celebrity will. So if that's the type of ship that you want, you're going to have to switch cruise lines.
Right, but they don't want to. That's the problem. They just want
Okay.
Royal to do it.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Because Royal has something where you like you said, kid friendly.
That's not what the
something-
Discovery. I mean, but like
They got water
That's
slide
not
on there.
what
If it
the
don't,
dis-
the water slide don't go on it.
that's not what the Discovery class is meant to do. The Discovery class is not going to be meant for kids. Those are for exotic destinations. Kids don't need to be on that.
Okay, well, so is Prima and Viva, and they got a water slide on that thing. So
Yeah, they're not going to
That's
miss
different.
out on that revenue from families. So it'll definitely be kid friendly, but
It's
to a
it's-
certain degree, like Viva
Yeah.
slide is on the top deck, forward on the ship, out of everybody's way. You never even know it's there
yeah,
unless you looked up and you went up the stairs. Like, you know what I mean?
right. Yeah, it's dumb, but yeah, I get that. I don't know. I mean, Celebrity has those ships available. Yeah, it's not technically a Royal Caribbean ship, but I mean, that's about as close as you're going to get to what you're asking for. And Royal Caribbean is not willing to do that. So they're not willing to do that themselves. So unfortunately, it sounds like, if that's the type of cruise or type of ship that you're looking for, I mean, it's not going to be, you're not going to get that with Royal Caribbean. They're going to because these Icon class and these Oasis class are continuing to do record profits and record numbers. They're not going to sacrifice that to appeal to a small portion of their audience. They're going to appeal to the audience that's making the most money.
right, and that's why the smaller ships are going to be kid friendly as well, because they don't want to take away from that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they're
Kid-friendly will not
they're
go
hesitant
into
on the small
Season
ships in the first place because of that. Like that's why they
Because of
don't.
what?
Because they're not really offering the same type of cruise as these Oasis class. They're not putting out the numbers and the profits that these Oasis and Icon class will.
Who isn't?
The Discovery class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not going to make as much money on a 90,000 ton ship as you are going to a 250,000 ton ship.
Yeah, but they're not going to make them 90. They're going to be at least 115.
130. I said 125, 150.
Yeah.
Well, okay, hear me out. Just take Jewel of the Seas, cut it in half, add 200 feet and 3 decks on top, slap a water slide and a rope.
Sounds like a
course on that
Vision
thing,
class.
Oh my god.
And
So
call it-
expensive.
It's more expensive to do that. They might as well just build a new ship.
Right, exactly. I do see in the chat here, when is the next MSC class? When do you guys think that's going to hit? Or when do you think we're going to start getting kind of drip feed of that?
Later this decade, like 2027 maybe, 28.
So I think World whatever is the fourth one. World class number 4 is 27. So I would say these first ones are going to probably be about 28, 29 or so. So probably they're going to be out by the end of the decade, but I would say we probably see something from these, or at least hear MSC at least order or acknowledge the existence of these officially, probably by the end of next year, I would say, maybe, if not this year.
maybe.
They're probably
I don't
gonna,
think
I think they're going to
this
place
year.
I think if the order hasn't already been placed, technically there's a way you can look it up, but if they haven't already ordered the ships, then they're going to be ordered pretty soon. Just because they ordered means it's going to be a while from now, but they're getting too aggressive to leave a couple years empty, even following the world class. So they've got something brewing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Bird says he knows something we don't.
Right.
He said, "You think they'll bring back the Breakaway Plus class?" I mean, I don't think they're going to revisit any classes. Like going back to like a fourth Freedom class too, because I see you mentioned that as well. But they're not going to revisit a certain class. It's kind of Carnival slightly did it, but they never even moved on from it. And I guess you can consider Oasis class that they went back to it, but I don't think they're going to revisit a class just to put out another 1 to 2 ships, even if it's like for certain specific things. I think they would just rather redesign something completely different than put out something that's already been out for a
They would have
while.
released another Encore, another Bliss. They would have just done another one while they were already building.
Right. There actually was originally plans for a fifth or a fourth Freedom class, but we ended up getting the Quantum class instead. So I think that just goes to show, like, that's what they were looking for, is something in that size range. And then they, Quantum class is what, 10,000 tons more, 15,000 tons more. So, like, they still got the same idea out of what they were looking for, but they made something new and different.
Yeah.
So
those don't review all too well, but
Quantum?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about Odyssey.
70% good,
Mhm.
but like I've seen some bad stuff sprinkled in there, so I would still love to try it, but
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah.
I mean, they're also not, again, going back to, they're not Oasis and Icon class, so that's what people seem to love and rave about, is those Oasis class and Icon class. So anything smaller than that, people aren't the hugest fans of. I mean, yeah, they're I think those ships are definitely serving a different market. Honestly, I think those ships are doing exactly what they want the Discovery class to do, is those Quantum ships. They're going all over the world. They're visiting Alaska. They're visiting Asia. They threw one in Florida for a little bit. Those are doing the exotic itineraries that they want to do. So I don't really know what they're even thinking with the Breakaway Plus ships, or not the Discovery ships. Like, the Quantum class is doing exactly that. They're bigger,
Yeah.
yes, but they're doing exactly what they say that they're wanting to do. It's smaller, not small, but it's definitely smaller than the Oasis class, and it's visiting exotic ports. I mean, that's exactly what people asked for, did not? They didn't want something that big, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I do think that span of, like, that size of ships between the Breakaway class and I think all the way up to the Mardi Gras, so about the 140 to 180,000 ton range, that is like the perfect size range for ships. Not too small,
Yeah.
not too big, and they can go just about everywhere depending on where you want to put them.
Agreed.
'Cause, I mean, even the 180,000 ton ships like these, the MSC Mirvilia Plus ships, those are 180,000 tons, and those are going all over Europe. I mean, those are going into some pretty solid
You're
places
right.
like Eurybia. So
I would put that in quotations. They go to the same 6 or 7 ports in
yeah, so does everything else, though.
France and thing. But
They get
mean,
the
they go to
Eurybia up
Norway.
in, yeah, I was gonna say Eurybia is up in like Norway and all that. So I mean, that's a little bit different.
but it's special because it runs on canola oil or something like that.
Yeah. What is it? That's like the whole reason they built that ship. Yeah, I think it's methane.
Thing or something, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like the Swedish government were like, oh, like, we don't want ships coming to our ports anymore unless they run on this specific fuel. And then MSC said, okay, we just placed an order for a ship that's gonna run on that. And they built the
Yeah.
Eurybia, and that's like its fuel source is whatever it like just did that. But it's a cool looking ship though.
Yeah.
But anyways, we are coming up on time, so any closing thoughts, I guess, going back to our main topic of Legend of the Seas, thoughts, everything like that?
I told you so 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Glad it's not going to Galveston.
I didn't think it
And
was.
Royal Caribbean, you need to chill with the prices. Bada bing,
Yeah.
bada boom, bada bang.
I'm just hyped they're bringing it to Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
That'll be cool. Maybe I can get my pilot friend to take me out on it if we're still friends by then. They might kill me before then.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, yeah, I mean, they definitely need to chill on the prices, but I do like that they're at least changing up the itineraries, and it's cool that we're gonna get 3 in 3 different ports. So I mean, they are adding a little bit of variety to these as they start to come out, but they definitely need to chill on the prices. But overall, pretty cool and lots of stuff. If the prices were a little bit better, I'd 1,000% sale on it, of course. So maybe in a couple years, once they start to calm down, once we see these, world class, Project Ace, Norwegians, next gen. I'm sure once those are all rolling out, we're going to see a little bit, calmer prices on these, and I'd love to do it again. And when it comes to Icon class, so. But anyways, that's all for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed listening, watching, or if you're, wherever you are, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever this is. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.